What's up? It's Matt. We're back with another live interview of an author or podcaster. This time we're out on the West Coast, Mr. Erik Shellenberger in LA. How are you?
How's it going, man? Thank you for having me.
I'm doing amazing. So I've got uno dos books. I've got both the books, Restaurant and Bar Marketing 1 and 2. So I guess quickly tell us who you are, and then we'll dig into some of your book content and some of your philosophies.
Cool. So I've been in the restaurant bar business pretty much my whole life since I was 13 years old. I worked for my mom at the ski resorts in Park City. She had the food and beverage over there. So I basically bust tables and washed dishes for a long time, and then moved up to every conceivable position in a restaurant you could work, from kitchen to bartending, waiting, managing, blah, blah, blah. And then got into corporate marketing about a decade ago, 12 years ago, something like that. And I worked for a major chain of country like a restaurant, bar, and live music venue.
Okay.
Went on to work in the entertainment district in Scottsdale with all the nightclubs over there. And come to find out that I think we'll get into this, but marketing people, especially marketing people who are younger, that they know one itty bitty sliver of what works and are very formally uneducated. Yep. I don't know how else to put that. They when you figure out you're the only researched one in the entire room, it gets to be pretty frustrating. So I started my own marketing business about almost 3 years ago, and I've been doing everything on my own terms and what I thought was successful, what I've always wanted to do. Started doing that on my own, and it's been as more successful than I could ever imagine. It was the best move I ever made.
Cool. I love it. And it's funny because 90%, probably 95% of people I interview are not marketing. Because I always talk to my, like when I have a podcast, my videographer David's on the other side of the camera. And of course, not his camera, it's a laptop. But most of our podcasts don't talk about marketing. They talk about operations and table touches and all the stuff that makes a restaurant crazy successful outside of marketing. And so I rarely interview marketing people. What resonated with you was you've got what I would consider the real world, the grassroots, you get what it takes to run a restaurant and bar, and that you've got to do a lot of stuff outside of just making a Facebook post and praying they come in.
Yep.
And I think back when I was reading part of your book, one thing that caught my attention, I've got a former client of mine here in Cincinnati called Quaker Steak and Lube, and they had 3 locations. A buddy of mine's the owner, and the one location started doing Walking Dead nights. And the reason they started doing Walking Dead nights was the bartender that worked Sunday nights loved Walking Dead and honestly wanted to watch Walking Dead while she was at work. And so she created Walking Dead nights because it was literally a ghost town anyways those nights. And within probably a month and a half, there was 100 people, packed house, one of the best nights of the week. And the other stores tried to copy it. When they tried to copy it, it flopped. And they said, "Matt, why do you think it flopped?" I said, "Because none of your bartenders watch Walking Dead. This lady eats, sleeps, drinks it. Every person that walks into that restaurant and bar every week she's on shift, she hammers crap out of it."
Right. That's a great I guess lesson in that if you're not authentic and you don't do what's really your passionate about, it's going to fail.
Yeah. So let's talk about marketing. By the way, I almost died at the canyons in Park City skiing, going down Black Diamond. I went down the wrong way. Different story. So your experience
for a long time.
Yeah, your experience growing up in that and seeing it. What were a couple of the things that really stuck out to you because you said you did it, and I run across this a lot. I run across marketing directors for brands that have worked like a week in the restaurant, and they have all this college education that tells them exactly what to do. And to me, the biggest thing that helps is real world experience. What were a couple things that you saw right away that isn't being taught and that people just aren't doing, that you grew up in the business and it was just secondhand?
You know what really kind of pisses me off about marketing people, and most of them are this way, is they'll measure success by clicks, likes, and shares and whatever. They'll measure success by, well, you hired me to get you more likes, so I did, so success, right?
Yep.
Hell no. Success doesn't have anything to do with that. Like, the phrase, you can't deposit likes.
Yep.
Absolutely true. And then I always was the one that said, hang on, let's see if this actually worked. Did people walk in the door and spend money because of it? I don't know. How you don't know. Yeah. So that's what really kind of got me sort of questioning everybody's approach from a decade ago. And back then, even my bosses would say, "Oh my God, great job. That thing you did, we got so many likes on that post. Awesome. We love your work. That's awesome." And I was the one even questioning myself, being like, wait a minute, what were the numbers at the end of the day? Did our numbers reflect that? And then I would ask, and they're like, well, we can't show you the numbers. It was a very secretive, very long story. It's in my book. It's in one of the first chapters, but the guy ended up going to prison. So let's just leave it at that. But so his books are very, very secretive on purpose. And so I wouldn't know. I wasn't even privy to the information, whether or not it was successful, which was detrimental to my job. So I couldn't say whether something I did brought somebody in the door or whether they just hit the like button and they went somewhere else. So being able to measure success it is hard, but it's a major kind of thing I focus on because if you don't know whether whatever it is you're doing worked or not, then how can you justify your costs? How can you justify you asking somebody for money for doing this? How can you justify even its existence if you're not sure? So that big pet peeve of mine, but
Yeah, that's it's funny. I don't know if you've seen me. I use that you can't deposit likes all the time. I've used it, my background when I speak at conferences, because one of my clients, Nick Ellison, said it to me back in April 2015. We had grown Hofbrauhaus Pittsburgh from 9,000 fans to 39,000 fans. And the only reason that was the only metric, we were spending $1.2 million a year for them on radio, TV, sports marketing, billboards, direct mail. We were spending about $50,000 a year between all the brands on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. And I said, Nick, I don't dispute that. A like doesn't do anything. It's a vanity metric. A comment, a like, a share. I want to know that somebody walked in here, put their butt down at a stool and ordered a stein of beer. And that was what led us to the path when we did our first ever promotion with them. And, we did 3 Facebook posts that were paid and very specific call to action. And he called me Monday morning and said, Matt, we did $18,000 in sales off that promotion. We can deposit that. And that's the part, is that a lot of people, they don't have that real world experience of understanding that a like is just a like. At the end of the day, you could hire somebody in India to give you 1,000 likes.
Sure. Yeah, that was, I think that's the biggest issue that I have with that entire industry. And it is so flawed and it's so hard to prove your worth. And that's why I got so focused on what I do as a company. Bar Marketing Basics, we do 2 things. We do search engine optimization and reputation management, and that is it. I don't do any other stuff for that reason. And I know that there's I've seen your work. I know you know how to do it, and I know you know how to measure it. But I just wish more people would actually take it more seriously, especially if they're going to be there to own the face of the business. Have something that's tangibly you can assign a value to.
Yeah, huge. And just talking about assigning a value, reviews. One of the parts in here I was reading a Yelp on reviews and how I want to get your feedback on how people can handle reviews, because there's a couple things I've seen that have been pet peeves of mine. I use this example all the time. I don't know if you heard this, but I told a client he always responds in negative, always, which I'm fine with. I love it. Never responds to positive. I said, let me ask you this. You and I are walking down the hallway. I got a brand new tie. You walk by me and go, hey, man, love that new tie. And I just keep walking. You're gonna be like, jackass. And I see that, like, people don't respond to positive reviews. And that's a great way to get somebody to promote you even more.
Right. And that's one of the big points I made in that book was that's a perfect example. But yeah, no one ever thanks their fans. This guy just took time out of his day to tell the world how good his experience was at your restaurant. You don't even give enough of the shit to say thank you. We invite you back in. We appreciate you. And it goes so far with, and who's reading reviews? You don't read reviews of a place you've been in 100 times. You don't have to read the reviews. It's a new customer looking for a new restaurant they've probably never been before. Maybe it's a tourist. Maybe it's somebody in unfamiliar territory. Maybe it's somebody who lives in your city, but not necessarily your neighborhood. So those people looking for reviews, they're about to make a dining decision right now. They're 100% going to a restaurant, and they just want to know what everybody else said. And when they see the owner taking interest and saying, thank you, we hope to see you again. Signed, the restaurant owner, here's my email address, here's my cell number, which is, I got to pry that out of people, but it's so important to put that information on there. And most of the time on the places that I've been a marketing director for, that I left my personal cell phone, I left my number on the review. The only time anybody ever hits me up is the guy that was saying, hey, I was just about to write a 1-star review on Yelp and I saw your number on there. So can you talk? Hell yes, I could talk. They call me up. I turn that guy around in 5 minutes. No 1-star review. He's willing to give us another chance. He's happy again. Now for his when he does go to write a review, he'll tell that story. Yeah. And he'll say, I had a bad experience the first time. These guys are so good at what they do. They turned it around. And maybe we comp them something. Maybe we don't even have to comp them. And get him back in there. Now you've got a 5-star review of this guy that's now your ambassador. And it was all from listing your cell number and being reachable. That's it. But it's people are so scared to leave their phone number. They're like, oh no, I'll just get blown up all day long. No, you won't. My cell number is on tens of thousands of review responses. I maybe get one a month-ish, and it's always that same type.
Oh, I've had my same cell number for 2, I think now, and I list it everywhere. I don't have reviews like that for my own stuff as much. I love that idea. I'm gonna start doing that, but I get a call every 3 or 4 days. The person thinks they're calling our company, and it gets me. And they're like, "Oh, I just got a question about something." Like, "Yeah, what's up?" And it'd be a Saturday night, 11 o'clock. They're like, "Oh, I was just gonna leave a message. I want to talk to you guys Monday morning." I'm like, "No, I got you." I mean, if I can't take a few calls for my own business, what the hell am I doing?
Right. I mean, those are all leads. I mean, how much money do we spend to get that phone to ring?
Yep.
And then that phone rings, you don't answer it. Well, what are you doing? And I got one from a guy who was hilarious. He called me. It was an oddball. It was like a Sunday evening or something. And I answered and I said, "This is Erik." And he's like, "Holy shit, this is really Erik." And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Well, you wrote in your book that I put my cell number right in my book. Here it is. If you want to call me right now." And the guy says, "I was just testing you out and you actually answered the phone." Because I'm so impressed. "Keep up the good work. Thanks, bye." That was it. But he made it a point to do that.
I love it.
Yeah.
On the review aspect, I'm just like what you explained there. I've never looked up a review for a restaurant locally because I eat here all the time. I know where I'm going, but I travel a lot. I'm in Miami in 2 weeks. I was in Florida 2 weeks ago. I'm in Dominican Republic in a month. I'm in Vegas next month. And when I travel, I'm typically know 1 or 2 places because we're usually shooting video there for the podcast. And the other times I don't know anywhere. And I'll look on my phone and I'll go to the reviews. And a couple things I look for are, did they reply to the negative review in a very compelling manner? Hey, you know what? We must have been off our game. We dropped the ball. We apologize. Except unless somebody's berating them. I think sometimes humor can get funny there too. But when they reply to the positive reviews, like, "Hey, we appreciate it. We love that meal too." I look at that. I was telling a client the other day who hates negative reviews. I said, "Dude, if I don't see a negative review for your restaurant, I think they're all fake."
Yep, you don't trust it.
That's impossible.
Yeah, the best Google, or not Google, just star rating in general overall, you could possibly have mathematically is a 4.7. Anything above a 4.7, they don't trust you, and they don't think that it's real. So it's a weird number, but that's like the ideal number to have, is star rating.
So chapter 4, you said get smart about getting noticed. And I talk to a lot of people and want to get your feedback. But what amazes me is how many businesses, like I always say this in seminars, what does it cost to be on Yelp, on Google, on Facebook, on YouTube, on it? None of them cost anything. And it's a great way to get noticed, even if it's 1 or 2 pair of eyeballs a day. So what are some of your tips on getting noticed for restaurants?
Well, and like I said, search engine optimization is my big thing. So I get all my clients at the top of the Google results for the words that make sense. But the search engine optimization word, or SEO, is such a vague, broad word that you'll buy a website from GoDaddy and it'll say SEO included for $12 a month.
That's
not really the same thing as somebody doing what I do. So it's such a weird term. And then you've got these people out of India or whatever that are spamming people with SEO stuff, and it's just annoying. It's got to be such a muddy industry that it almost feels sleazy, but it's hopefully I'm the good example in the whole thing. When I say get noticed in that context, it's getting noticed from somebody who's never heard of you before, a new customer. somebody, and one of the first chapters is the fishbowl versus the ocean in that book. And your business is very, very fishbowl, which there's a huge opportunity inside that fishbowl to market if you do it right. So your stuff is in that environment, which is nothing wrong with that at all. That's a great place to cultivate those people. Mine is in the ocean outside that of all consumers, everybody who's never heard of me before, or the tourist, or the whatever I talked about before, the guy who's just looking for somewhere to eat. And if you're on Google, I mean, yeah, like you said, you're in unfamiliar territory, you get on your phone, you go to Google or Yelp. In some places, Miami, TripAdvisor. So you're on one of those three apps, short of asking somebody. If you're on your phone, you're on one of those three apps looking. So do you want to be ranked on the 4th page, or do you want to be toward the very, very top of whatever you're typing in? So I won't get into the nerdy part of SEO because it gets just ridiculously boring. But basically, if you're typing in a restaurant, but you as a business owner have categorized yourself as a pizza joint, you're not necessarily, you're going to rank eventually, but you're not going to be at the top of that result. That's why I tell everybody, main category, just plain old restaurant, not Italian, not Mexican, not nothing. Subcategory, pizza, Italian, pasta, blah, 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 blah.
I like
you
that.
got all that stuff. So it's just has to do with getting the eyeballs on your brand before those eyeballs choose your competitor.
And that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I've been in marketing. I've learned SEO back in 1999 on complete accident. That's a whole other story I'll tell you. It's kind of funny. And I don't do SEO now, and it's above my pay grade. But the one thing that makes sense is that I could see where the restaurant's inclination would be, I'm an Italian restaurant. And they're going to list for that. Well, no, you're a restaurant first, Italian second. So I like that. Yeah,
and one of the other misconceptions that I still see to this day is restaurant owners really, really love the term gastropub. They use it all the time. Everybody either wants to be a gastropub or they call themselves that. They'll categorize their main category as gastropub because it sounds cool. It sounds like you're you're a bar, yet you have really good food. That's what it's supposed to mean. But if in some of my keyword research tools I use for SEO is I can type in, matter of fact, I'll give you the tool here in a second. I can type in a term into Google and it'll kick back and tell me how many people per month search that term. Gastropub has 0 search traffic. Nobody searches the word gastropub. So when they're putting that as their main category, they're doing themselves a huge disservice without even knowing they're doing it. And it's just a basic law of human nature. Like human nature doesn't type in gastro. I want to see a good gastropub right now. No such thing. So the tool is called Keywords Everywhere. It's an extension for Google Chrome.
Keywords Everywhere.
Yep. Go to Google Chrome. Go to extensions. Type in type in Keywords Everywhere, and once you turn it on, it's a pay service, but $10 will last you years and years. So it's barely pay, but it'll tell you all the statistics on whatever you just typed in. It'll tell you you type in your own restaurant's name. It'll show you how many searches per month you get, and stuff like those open-ended search like restaurants near me and Italian restaurants and pizza and blah 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 blah. It'll break all that stuff down for you. So if you are going after categories or keywords, now you have the researched ones, not the ones you're pulling out of your ass just because you think that's a great word.
They're important to you.
You're right.
I had that happen to a friend of mine. He's retired a couple years ago. He was a former AT&T guy, started up a web design company and did a little SEO. And he had a client of his in Dayton, Ohio that did hearing aids. But this person did not like the word hearing aid. They liked hearing device. And so they literally, at a mandate against him, actually in writing, he told them, you do not want to optimize your site off of the term hearing device. And they went against it. They did it. Within 2 months, they're like, man, our site's getting no traffic. He's like, that's because nobody Googles the word hearing device. They Google hearing aid. And so they let them change it. And guess what? Their website started ranking all of a sudden.
Yep. That's so common. It's like everybody will think, just like when, let me go on a quick tangent. When I got out of in my book, I call it the opinion business. I'm not in the opinion business anymore. And that has to do with, I'm still a graphic designer and a web designer, all that stuff. So when I made a flyer, I would make a flyer geared toward what I think the public would like to see, not me. I try to take my own opinion out of it because my opinion doesn't matter of what looks like a successful flyer versus a dog shit flyer. So all the other people in the marketing department that I was working with, they would use their own opinion 100% of the time. If they didn't personally like that shade of purple, no, redo it. And we would take a 5-minute job and turn it into a 2-week job for that reason. And at the end of the day, I'm just like, you guys, can you not really see past your own, prejudices, your own opinions of what is attractive? Let's look at everybody else. And I don't know why that got so hard for them, but that got to a point where I was like, look, if there's an opinion involved, I don't want any part of it. I'm out. So that's what SEO is, math. That's it. It's all numbers and statistics.
Yeah.
They either clicked, they either walked in the door, or they didn't. And we can tell how many people through the get directions button actually clicked get directions and walked in the door and spent money. I mean, where can you do that? So that there's no room for interpretation. There's no room for opinion. So I don't even remember the original question, but anyway.
No, you say we're going on a tangent. I love it though. You're right. I think a lot of times people create stuff that they like, and not necessarily that. This isn't on a marketing standpoint, but there was a brand we worked with that their corporate office out of nowhere a couple of years, like 4 or 5 years ago, decided to eliminate mild sauce from the hot wing menu. And for whatever reason, they didn't actually look at the point of sale and see that was the number 2 hot sauce. And so all we did for the next month was answer negative reviews and angry Facebook posts because there was no more mild sauce for whatever reason. Like my mom even left a bad comment. She's like, I don't care, Matthew. I want my mild sauce. And so I'm like, oh, don't do it. But it was just.
They would have lost me.
Huh?
They would have lost me. I cannot deal with hot food.
Yeah, it was just funny that somebody somewhere thought I don't like mild. So guess what? All 58 stores, no more mild sauce. And then it took 2 months to get it back when they all realized it was a big mistake and thousands are confused. Well, cool. Well, I appreciate your time. Any closing words? How can people work with you? How can they contact you? All that good stuff.
Yeah, my website's Bar Marketing Basics. You can reach out to me directly. I have a location here in Los Angeles, and I have another one in Scottsdale, Arizona. Go back between the two of them, but I guess it really doesn't matter where I am at the time. Anyway, Erik, E-R-I-K, at barmarketingbasics.com. I'm not really on social media much anymore. And again, I'm out of the opinion thing. So there's plenty of information of what I offer, how much it costs, how to get a hold of me on the website, and my cell number, 602-540-0128. Hit me up anytime.
Cool. And hit him up, get on Amazon. Buy the books, buy both of them. Don't buy one, buy both. Read them both. Leave a review on Amazon, Facebook, LinkedIn. Yes. Let them know how great the product is. I appreciate it. I'll be in LA this fall. I look forward to shaking your hand and having some food in person.
Awesome. Hit me up.
Okay, thanks, Erik.
Thank you.